بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Just a couple minutes we talk about one of the companions of the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام. As we got used to that every Tuesday after Maghrib, we talk about one of the companions of the Prophet, and this is one of the tools of seeking the knowledge, that we know their biographies. Ridwanullahi alayhim, may Allah be pleased with them. So their biographies, we learn much from them. And this is one of the great knowledge that all the scholars use to teach during the history, through the history, and to just, extract the lessons from their lives. And today's Sahabi, he's called Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqaas, radiyallahu anhu. As we used to, to speak about the Sahaba, we started with the 10 Sahaba who got the glad tidings that they are in Jannah. And the four caliphs, the top of them. And then we have 6 more. We talked about Ubayd ibn al-Jarrah, we talked about Abdurrahman ibn Auf, we talked about Zubayr ibn al-Awwam, we talked about Talha ibn Ubaydillah, and we talk about Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas as well today, inshallah. And in the next time we talk about the last one of the 10 Sahabi who got the glad tidings from the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam that they are in Jannah. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, one of the early Sahaba who accepted Islam. He was 17 when he became a Muslim. When you look at their lives, you see that a lot. That the majority of the followers of the Prophet ﷺ are from the youth, the teenagers, or pre-teenagers. So they from early age, they accept Islam because Islam does not contradict with al-fitrah, with the nature. Islam comes with the beliefs, the morals, the good characters, the principles that everyone loves to have in his life. But if I'm a Muslim and I miss these principles from my life, so I have to revise and review my Islam again. Because the practices of Muslim, if these practices or these actions are not suitable to be an example for others, to bring others to Islam, so we have to stop here and review the Islam again, because our deeds are so important way of da'wah. Islam brings those teenagers and youth to this religion because of the value that Islam has. This great value that Islam has, it affects specifically the youth and the teenagers. And that's why we need to speak about the essence of Islam, what Islam is. And we need to practice Islam in the best way. You have a lot of people, they become Muslims and they're still, teenagers. They're still in the age of youth just because of the beauty of Islam. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, he was one of them. And not only that, he was one of the 10 companions who got the glad tidings that they're in Jannah. And not only that, he was one of the 6 people of Shura. After the death of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu, there were 6 Sahabi were called Ahlul Shura, the people who will get the rulership after the death of Umar ibn al-Khattab. One of them was Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, Ali ibn Abi Talib, Uthman ibn Affan, Abdurrahman ibn Auf, and there was Talha, Az-Zubayr, and Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. And then it went to Uthman ibn Affan through a mechanism that 4 of them, they just left that matter to Uthman and Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu anhum, and then there was like a great consultation between the Sahaba, and Abdurrahman ibn Auf was the head of that person of this process to choose the Amir, the ruler, the commander of the believers after the death of Umar ibn al-Khattab, and became Uthman ibn Affan radiyallahu anhu after this beautiful mechanism that they had it in the early times of Islam. So Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, one of the 6 people of the Shura, that means that he's elite. He's one of the unique Sahabi, knowledgeable, courage, and ready to sacrifice for Islam, loves Islam from his deep heart. And an example for that when he became a Muslim, the very beginning, before the migration and so on, he was very thankful and grateful to his mom. He was كان بارا بأمه. فلما علمت أمه بإيمانه, when she knew that he became a Muslim, she said, I'm not gonna eat, I'm not gonna drink I'm not going to talk to you unless you leave this religion. If you leave this religion, I'm going to eat, I'm going to drink, and so on. And this reflects the struggles that they have. They have social problems. They have, financial problems. They have many problems in all aspects and walks of life. They didn't have the religion easily, though it was very hard. So imagine it. Your family is challenging you because you became a Muslim. And we have some people today, they have that. Your father, your mother, and alhamdulillah that we were born as Muslims and our families are Muslims. And we ask Allah to guide all people to Islam, to guide the families of those brothers, Muslim brothers, those families who are not Muslims yet. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide them to Islam. And if they are not guided, to have peace between them and their children. Allahumma ameen. So Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, he's facing this big problem. Your mother is calling you, where are you? I'm so and so. So no, just come here. That's okay, that's halal thing, You have to make it. But regarding the deen, do not pray. Do not worship Allah. Do not go to the masjid. Do not memorize Al-Quran. This is not allowed to obey them. I have to be grateful to them. I have to be thankful to them. But if they ask me to do something haram, I'm not going to do it. Drink alcohol. I know a family. They call their son to drink with them. Wallahi, they call their son to drink with them. And they're elders. And the son is not young one. He's like 30, And, he's drinking from them, The families, the sons, they complain. The wife, she's complaining. And she's screaming, what's going on? And I said, this is haram. He's not allowed to obey them. And Allah said, is not allowed to obey them. As long as they ask you to do something haram, you stop here. I do everything you ask me to do. But when it comes to haram, I'm not going to sacrifice with my religion. And that's what Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas did. He gave us great lesson in the sacrifice, in patience, even with the most beloved person to his heart, his mother. And he was grateful to his mother. But she said to him, do not be a Muslim. Do not follow Prophet Muhammad. And if you don't do that, I'm not going to eat, I'm not going to drink, I'm not going to talk to you. And that's hard for Sa'd. And Sa'd, he didn't make it. He said to his mom, كلي أو لا تأكلي والله لا أترك هذا الدين أبدا ولو أن لك 100 نفس وخرجت نفسا بعد نفس ما تركت هذا الدين أبدا. If you have 100 souls and every soul is taken every day because you don't eat, you don't drink, and you killed yourself just to make me leave this religion or to cause me leave this religion, I will never leave it because this is my life. I do whatever you want, but regarding the deen, it's number one. And that's in the whole Quran. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُ إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ. So worship Him first. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. The parents, number two. You become grateful to them. They're Muslims or non-Muslims. You're Muslims, you follow them, you do everything. They're non-Muslims, you do the same thing, but if they ask you to do something haram, no, as Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas did. Because of this sacrifice, he got great gifts from Allah because he sacrificed a lot. The more you sacrifice for this religion, the more you get the gifts of Allah. Like what? He became one of the people of Jannah and he's alive. He knows that he's in Jannah. And all of them, when you read their lives, they know in Jannah and they did not abstain from salah. They did not delay salah. They did not delay zakah. They did not delay the good deeds. They were the best, even though they know they're in Jannah. Subhanallah. So that motivated them and did not cause them to be lazy. He got one of the gifts that Prophet ﷺ made a dua that Allah accepts his dua. Yani to make him one of the people, whenever they make dua, the dua is accepted. قال اللهم استجب لسعد. Oh Allah, accept the dua of Sa'd whenever he makes it. He was one of mustajab al-da'wah. Yani, whatever he says, whatever he makes, what supplicates to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah accepts from him directly. And we have a beautiful story in this regard. One of the gifts that Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas got, that Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam would make the dua for Sa'd to be protected in the battlefield. Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he says, "Irmi fidaka abi wa ummi." تخيل النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام يقول لسعد بن أبي وقاص ارمي فداك أبي وأمي. فداك means يعني shoot those non-believers, those enemies. May Allah protect you by my mother and my father. You know, to make my parents your shield, to be protected. A Prophet ﷺ is making this dua as a gift for Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas because of his sacrifice. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas was 17 and the battlefield you're talking about 30, 31, 32. And Prophet ﷺ at that time he was 53, 54, something like that. And Nabi ﷺ يقول هذا خالي فأروني أيكم خاله. Prophet ﷺ is 54, Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas 31 or something like that. And Prophet ﷺ he says, shoot. This is my uncle. This is my marital uncle. You know, they have this relationship. And he was the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ, not the first uncle, but he was one of the uncles of the Prophet ﷺ. And Prophet ﷺ, he says, this is my uncle. Show me your uncles, guys. He's proud of him. Proud of one of his companions. And that teaches us, motivate people around you. It doesn't matter the ages. You're 70, you're 60, and someone else is one of your relatives, one of your grandsons, you know, one of your friends, motivate him. And Prophet ﷺ would do that, motivating the companions. Imagine that you're in the place of Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas and you hear Prophet ﷺ praising you and say, Irmi fidaka wa ummi, may Allah protect you with my parents. And you're my uncle, I'm proud that you are my uncle. And people, show me your uncles. I'm proud that this man is my uncle. Can you imagine the feeling of Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas? Amazing feeling. And he gets it from the Prophet. These are the gifts because of the sacrifice of Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. As we said, كان من مستجاب الدعوة. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas رضي الله عنه وارضاه. Whatever he says, Allah accepts from him. And he was one of the great leaders and the commanders of the believers, I mean the rulers in some places like Al-Kufa. كان أميرا على الكوفة من قبل عمر رضي الله عنه. Umar appointed him, hired him to be the ruler of Al-Kufa in Iraq. And one day people of Al-Kufa, people in Iraq, they complained against Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. They sent a message to Umar, they said that Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas doesn't know how to pray. Look at the accusation, it's funny. You're talking about one of the companions of the Prophet is not normal companion. He's a companion. One of al-ashar al-mubashirin bil Jannah, one of the 10 people who got the glad tidings, they are in Jannah. The early Muslims, يعني Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, he talks about himself, he says, لقد مكثت مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في ليلة وإني لثلث الإسلام. I was with the Prophet and me and the Prophet, we were the third of Islam, which means they were like 5, 6 people, Muslims in the world. And Sa'd was the third of Islam with the Prophet ﷺ. And people accuse him that he can't pray well. Just to teach us as imams, as leaders, or managers, or whatever you have in the community, when people accuse you, don't worry. That's the way of the messengers, and that's the way of the Sahaba. That's the way of the companions, the righteous people, that they get accusations. You know, people deny them. People lie about them, spread lies regarding them. You know, they're not going to be okay. They're not going to leave them in peace. No, it will never happen, Ya Abdul Rahman. You will see your sheikh always attacked. That's the norm. That's easy. And when you learn that, you know that way is not easy. It needs patience because as we said in the khutbah, al-aqibatul muttaqin, we ask Allah to be one of the righteous. So Allah gives us al-aqibah, the best in. Allahumma ameen. So Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, you know, what happened? So Umar sent to him. What happened, ya Sa'd? And look, Umar, he knows Sa'd. Sa'd, Umar knows him very well and knows who is Sa'd. But haqq is haqq. Justice is justice. People accuse them with something, I have to investigate. It doesn't matter, he's my companion, he's my friend, he's my relative, he's my son, he's my father, whatever, whoever he is, he must be investigated. And we have to achieve that. You find it only in Islam. تعال يا سعد, come here. What happened? قال والله يا أمير المؤمنين إني لا أفعل شيئا إلا أني أركض في أصلي بهم صلاة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. I pray with them the prayer of the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم. What is the prayer of the Messenger? How Prophet ﷺ used to pray? قال أركض في الأوليين وأحذف في الأخريين. That I make the first 2 rak'ah longer and the last 2 rak'ah I just make them shorter. This is Salat Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I used to do that with him. فقال عمر ذاك الظن بك يا أبا إسحاق. That was his nickname. ذاك الظن بك. That's what we think about you, Abu Ishaq. And then he sent an investigator to people of Kufa. Now he talked to Sa'd. Look at the process and the procedure of how to investigate. He talked to Sa'd. He listened from Sa'd. Now let's listen to people. Even we know them. And it's false accusation. So he sent to people of Kufa. What happened? What do you complain? What is your problem with Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas? Nobody talked in the masjid. Muhammad ibn Maslama, the investigator, he is asking people in public on the minbar. فقام رجل يقال له أبا مسعدة. He's called Abu Mas'adah. He stood and he said, I have a problem with Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. Okay, speak. فقال إن سعدا لا يعدل في القضية ولا يقسم بالسوية ولا يسير بالسرية. لا يعدل في القضية. He is unjust in judging between people. This is first one. Second one, لا يقسم بالسوية. He doesn't divide the spoils amongst people fairly. He's not fair in dividing the spoils or the money that Allah gave to them in justice between people. And the third one, he doesn't lead people to make jihad or to fight for the sake of Allah. He stays in Kufa and he sends them. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas is listening. فقال سعد, he raised his hand. Look at the acceptance. دعوة المظلوم. Now I'm unjust. You accuse me that I'm unjust. And if it's a false accusation, now became I'm oppressed. مظلوم. And Prophet ﷺ said, دعوة المظلوم ليس بينها وبين الله حجاب. There's no screen between the dua of the oppressed one and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just make it, just make it, just make it. And our brothers and sisters in Gaza are mazlumeen, oppressed. We make dua for them and they make the dua. Never stop making the dua. It's coming. Wallahi, it's coming. Whether you see it or not, it's coming. هذا وعد الله عز وجل. That He gives the victory to the believers. But let's achieve the meaning of the belief. Let's make the dua and keep doing that. And Allah will give it to us. One day, we believe in that. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. So ورفع سعد يده وقال اللهم إن كان عبدك هذا كاذبا. Oh Allah, if he was a liar, فيما رماني به, regarding what he said, فأطل عمره. Make him stay for a long time, longer life. وأطل فقره, and make him a poor person. وعرضه للفتن. Make him maftun like looks at fitan around it like a woman, makes the haram because he's maftun. He can't control his faith. So the man, he lived حتى انحنى ظهره. His back became like this because he became very, very old. Cannot serve himself. Getting Alzheimer, getting the diseases of the elders, and may Allah protect us all. And he can't walk well because he became very old, very old. And he lost all of his money. That man, he became the most poor in the city. وَعَرِّضُ لِلْفِتَنِ. Whenever he's old and poor and sitting on the sides of the road and he's looking at women and he's, harassing women in this old age, just because that dua that Sa'ad did it. Allahu Akbar. There is no screen between the oppressed and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That was in Sa'ad's life. These were some of the headlines in Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. Go and read Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas' life. Learn from him. And how did he sacrifice for Islam like that? And how he got this point of acceptance of the dua, that his ibadah, his struggling for the sake of the deen. He doesn't care about dunya. He doesn't care about it. SubhanAllah, one day when Uthman died and people started to struggle for khilafah, who's going to be the Khalifa next? And that process was very dangerous. You know what Sa'd did? He went to the desert, taking his flock, the herd, the animals or the sheep, and grazing. That's it. And Sa'd, he was one of the 6 people of Shura, the consultants, the advisors, to be one of the Khalifa. He left everything and went there. I don't want to participate in anything that Allah would ask me. I don't want to participate in anything. So his son came to him, Umar. فقال له, what are you doing here? People are, trying to get it there in Medina and you stay here? You should be there. فأنت أولى بالخلافة. You're the most worthy person to be Khalifa, a ruler. He said, أعوذ بالله من شر هذا الراكب. Oh Allah, I seek refuge from the evil of that rider who's coming and talking to me about this matter. I don't want it. I don't want to be in the head of people just, and I'll be asked about that. And if anything happened like the blood shedding and whatever, Allah will ask me about all of that. I'm not ready for that. And then he said, oh my son, I heard the Messenger Sallallahu, look at him, how he got these blessings and gifts from Allah. Oh my son, I heard the Prophet ﷺ saying, إن الله يحب من عباده التقي النقي الغني الخفي. I'm not ready for that. Again, I heard Messenger ﷺ says, Allah loves His servant who is taqi, righteous, mindful of Allah, naqi, pure. He has no evil in his heart. Ghani, he's self-sufficient, doesn't depend on anyone, depends on Allah Azza wa Jal, relies on Allah Azza wa Jal. Khafi, hidden. He doesn't show up. He doesn't like the shows. He doesn't like these media, to announce everywhere, to have these posts, to be famous and that. Khafi. Let's be that one. Let's be taqi. Let's be naqi. Let's be ghani. Let's become khafi. When you give sadaqah, let's become khafi. When you make salat al-layl, let's become khafi. When you make a righteous deed, let's become khafi. That's Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يلحقنا بهؤلاء الأعلام على خير. اللهم ألحقنا بهم على خير يا رب العالمين وبركة. اللهم احشرنا في زمرة النبيين والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين وحسن أولئك رفيقا. اللهم تب علينا توبة ترضيك عنا. اللهم خذ بنواصينا إليك أخذ الكرام عليك. اللهم أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. اللهم تب علينا توبة ترضيك عنا. اللهم اهدنا واهد بنا واجعلنا سببا لمن اهتدى واجعلنا هداة مهتدين. اللهم أصلحنا وأصلح بنا وأصلح البلاد والعباد وأبعد عن البلاد والعباد الفتن ما ظهر منها وما بطن. اللهم أنجي إخواننا في غزة. اللهم ارفع عنهم الظلم وارفع عنهم البأس وارفع عنهم الجوع. اللهم ارفع عنهم التهجير يا رب العالمين. وعليك بعدوك وعدوهم فإنهم لا يعجزونك. اللهم عليك بهؤلاء الأعداء فإنهم لا يعجزونك. اللهم منزل الكتاب ومجري السحاب وهازم الأحزاب انصرنا على هؤلاء الأعداء واهزمهم يا رب العالمين ورد كيدهم في نحورهم. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من شرورهم ونجعلك في نحورهم. اللهم أنجي إخواننا في سوريا ووحد صفوفهم يا رب العالمين واجمع كلمتهم. اللهم وحد صفوف إخواننا في السودان واجمع شملهم واحقن دماءهم ودماء المسلمين في كل مكان يا رب العالمين وارفع عنا الغلاء والجوع يا رب العالمين عن جميع بلاد المسلمين. وصل اللهم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم وجزاكم الله خيرا.